Beast Taming Cultivation Fantasy Adaptation Contest. Voiceover script for narrator Beast Taming. Cultivation Fantasy, an adaptation contest. 5 legendary stories, 1 transformative challenge. Take a proven saga and make it feel like it was born in India. The challenge. Choose one of 5 Chinese blockbuster stories. You'll receive complete scripts, episode summaries, and story bibles. Your task. Adapt it into a Hindi audio series that feels authentically Indian, not translated. Transformed. The plot stays. The soul changes. Katha Sutra. What if the creature everyone dismissed as worthless was the most dangerous thing in existence? Your hero begins where all great rises begin, at rock bottom. Humiliated, powerless, written off by a world that judges worth by bloodlines and rankings. They're the slave in a monster's pen, the orphan on an island of death, the boy who chose a sparrow when he could have had a dragon. But then, something impossible happens. A creature chooses them back. Not because they're strong, not because they're special, because something in their shared brokenness recognizes a truth the world refuses to see. The bond that forms isn't master and servant, it's family. 2 outcasts who look at each other and say, "You and me," against everything. Channel the electric intimacy of a partnership no one understands, the silent communication between souls that have chosen each other, the rage of the underestimated finally unleashing what they've been hiding. Show us how a bond forged in desperation becomes the weapon that topples empires. But power always demands payment. The strength that saves them begins to change them. The creature that protects them carries hungers of its own. And the question that haunts every rise remains: when you become the thing they feared, are you still the person worth saving? This is Beast Taming Cultivation Fantasy. 5 blockbuster stories, 1 legendary genre. Your mission: take a proven saga and make it feel like it was born in India. The 5 stories. Each story below includes a full trailer that captures its essence. Read them all. Feel which one calls to you, then commit. Story number 1. Charm of Soul Pets. Bond, evolve, dominate. They strapped a 10-year-old boy to a stone table and forced a demon into his chest. Gave him 3 years before it eats him alive from the inside out. Then they dropped him on an island where 100 stolen children fight to survive, and only 10 will leave alive. The only way to burn the demon out before it burns through you? Bond a soul pet. A creature tied to your spirit that fights when you fight, dies when you die. Capture one. Train it. Become powerful enough to survive what's growing inside you.
While other children huddled in groups and prayed for rescue, one boy walked alone into the deep jungle where the apex predators lived. He wasn't looking for safety. He was looking for her. A wounded silver fox with a crescent moon glowing on her forehead. The rarest creature in existence. No evolutionary ceiling. No limit to what she could become. 7 times he tried to form the soul pact. 7 times she refused, biting his outstretched hand until blood ran down his wrist. On the 8th night, starving and dying, he knelt before her and made the only promise that mattered. "I'm not asking you to serve me. I'm asking you to survive with me." She chose him, not because he was strong, because he was honest. What followed was transformation. She evolved without limit, from silver pup to moonlit hunter to 9-tailed demon wreathed in phantom fire. He survived without mercy, walking through battlefields with bodies behind him and his blazing fox at his side. The boy they made into a sacrifice became the thing they learned to fear. But the demon inside him is still waking up. Every victory feeds it. Every fight brings it closer to the surface. And the question that haunts him grows louder with each kill. When does the man who survives stop being someone worth saving? Why choose this one? If you want to write a survival crucible where the bond forms under impossible pressure,
The fox and boy partnership is the emotional engine, best for writers who love slow burn loyalty and evolution arcs. Story number 2, Beastmaster of the Ages. Rise, burn, reign. She held his hand at the altar, whispered forever, promised him a lifetime. Then she sold him to his enemies and forced him to watch as they tortured his beast companion to death, ripping out feathers one by one while he screamed, paralyzed, unable to move. In a world where power flows through the bond between human and beast, to lose your companion is to lose your soul. They took everything from him: his name, his status, his future. Left him a cripple caring for a dying mother while the whole world watched and laughed. But something ancient had been sleeping inside him since birth. When a glowing egg cracked open in the darkness and a tiny phoenix chick emerged, absurdly small, comically arrogant, breathing fire on its first day. It looked at the ruins of his life and saw a king worth following. "They took your brother," the phoenix told him. "Now you have me, and I don't forgive." Then a second egg hatched, a black cat wreathed in lightning, yawning with cosmic indifference. Now 2 beasts flanked him, fire and lightning, and the boy they buried began clawing his way back from the grave. He crushed his sneering half-brother, humiliated the arrogant nobles, made the crowd that mocked him scream his name, while his mother smiled for the first time in years. But revenge demands a price. When he finally stood over the man who killed his first companion, watched him beg, watched him crawl, something had gone cold inside him. The softness was gone. He raised his blade, and 2 hours of screams echoed across the arena. "You made me watch him die," he whispered. "Now the whole world watches you." They destroyed the boy. He destroyed them back. But the man left standing. Even his mother doesn't recognize him anymore. Why choose this one? If you want to write pure betrayal revenge with found family, the Phoenix and Cat duo gives you comedic warmth alongside brutal vengeance. Best for writers who love righteous fury and protective rage. Story number 3, God of Fishing. From nothing to nightmare. They called him trash. During a school test, a green turtle dragged him underwater while the other students laughed from their boats above. He sank into darkness, humiliated, worthless. Just another nobody the world would forget. Then a strange tattoo burned onto his wrist. Something ancient woke inside him. And when he sat in the Spirit Awakening pool, a white fish materialized before him. Beautiful, docile, utterly common. The crowd murmured what everyone was thinking. Trash awakens trash. But they only saw one fish. Invisible to everyone else, a second creature circled beside the white one, black as void, eyes burning with hunger, needle teeth snapping at the crowd. 2 fish, one they could see, one they couldn't. Yin and yang, light and dark, and both of them chose him. Little white finds treasure, little black tears through enemies unseen. Together, they transformed the boy everyone dismissed into something terrifying. He defeated bully after bully, challenged stronger opponents and won. When gang members surrounded him 12-1, he didn't run. He walked forward while bodies fell around him, untouched. The useless thing inside him, the broken thing, the shameful thing, turned out to be the most dangerous thing of all. But power has a price. When he fuses with his beasts, one eye black, one eye white, he moves impossibly fast. He becomes unstoppable. And then he wakes in fields of corpses with blood on his mouth that isn't his. No memory of the killing, losing pieces of himself with every transformation. "Every time I use it," he whispers, "it gets easier, but I seem to be losing myself." The darkness that gave him strength, the rage that made him unstoppable. At what point did it stop being his weapon and start being his master? Why choose this one? If you want to write psychological duality, the twin fish, one seen and one hidden, creates unique dramatic irony. Best for writers who love secret weapon dynamics and the horror of losing yourself to power. Story number 4. I became a zombie wolf. Pray no more.
In the year 3100, humanity is livestock. The strong are property, the weak are meat.
3 monster factions carved the world apart: the undead, the vampires, the lichens, and the humans who survived exist only to feed them. He was born in chains, a werewolf's brand burned into his shoulder, raised to be consumed. But they made one mistake. They let him live long enough to hate. On the night he tried to escape, he was bitten. Not once, 3 times. By creatures that should have killed him. A zombie, a vampire, a werewolf. Instead, they made him something impossible. A tribrid, the first of his kind, with powers from all 3 bloodlines flowing through his veins. And something else woke inside him. An ancient consciousness. A being who had lost everything to the same forces that enslaved Earth, now sharing his mind, watching through his eyes.
You're not special because you survived, the voice told him.
You're useful because you hate. I'll make you strong enough to destroy them, but you'll carry my war too. They didn't trust each other, but they chose each other. 2 broken things forging one weapon. He learned to hunt what hunted him, to devour what tried to devour him. Every kill made him stronger. Every death fed the thing he was becoming. The boy who was livestock began sitting among kings, and they had no idea what they'd let through the door. A woman saw what he was becoming and didn't flinch. She fought beside him. He made her a monster too. Now they have to fight both of them. But when he stares into the mirror and sees fangs where teeth should be, dead eyes where humanity used to live, wings unfurling from a body that's no longer quite human, he has to ask the question that haunts every slave who becomes master. When you become powerful enough to destroy your oppressors, have you become them?
Why choose this one?
If you want to write liberation from oppression at cosmic scale, the ancient entity partnership adds mentorship dynamics. Best for writers drawn to slavery to power narratives and identity transformation. Story number 5. Monster integration. Every scar earned, blood well spent. They offered him power. Class 7 beasts, Class 9 beasts, magnificent creatures that would guarantee his future. Wolves wreathed in wind, spiders of living crystal, monsters that could carry him to greatness. In a world where humanity survives only through partnership with beasts, your bond determines everything. The higher the class, the greater your ceiling. He chose a sparrow, a tiny silver bird, Class 2, the lowest viable strain. A guaranteed ceiling no one could break. The crowd whispered. His father looked away. Everyone told him it was a mistake, but he saw what they couldn't. Intelligence that defied classification, potential burning beneath the surface. When their blood mingled on the bonding stone, and she transformed into silver light and merged into his chest, he made a bet that would either prove him a visionary or destroy him completely. She chose him back, and when a demon monkey twice her size taunted her, she took the hits. Then silver fire erupted from her beak and scorched its face. The crowd went silent. They said her bloodline had limits, so he shattered them. 5,692 parts, 96% failure rate, an archaic technique everyone had abandoned. He locked himself in darkness, assembling an impossible engine in his mind while blood vessels burst in his eyes. Because it offered one thing the safe paths couldn't: the ability to break bloodline limits forever. When the train was ambushed and he woke buried under corpses, when survival became the only option, when he forced his body through 24 combat stances that tore his muscles and shattered his limits, he discovered who he truly was. And she evolved alongside him, revealing what had been hidden inside her all along. Something ancient, something divine, something that made titans kneel. His family receives letters saying everything is fine. They smile, unworried. They don't know he's bleeding alone in caverns that don't exist on any map, carrying terrible knowledge, breaking every promise he made to protect their future. When the whole world says you're wrong, how do you know if you're a visionary or a fool? There's only one way to find out. Why choose this one? If you want to write betting on the underdog, the sparrow choice is the purest expression of seeing worth others miss. Best for writers who love proving doubters wrong arcs and technical mastery. The adaptation philosophy. You are not translating. You are transforming. The goal is simple. A listener should feel this story was written for them, not translated to them. The emotions are universal. The expression must be local. What's sacred? What you should not change. First, the core emotional journey. Betrayal, to bond, to rise, to cost. Second, key plot beats and story structure. Third, the nature of the human-creature relationship. Fourth, character archetypes and their functions. Fifth, the escalating stakes and power progression. Sixth, major twists and revelations. What's yours? What you can transform freely. Names, places, and cultural context. The mythology and spiritual framework. Social structures and systems of oppression. How power manifests and what it's called. Dialogue, humor, and emotional expression. Regional flavor, local idioms, and cultural references. Food, clothing, festivals, and daily rituals. The litmus test. If someone heard your adaptation without knowing the source, would they ever guess it wasn't originally written in Hindi? If yes, you've succeeded. If no, dig deeper into the transformation. Indianization Guide. Use this as a starting point, not a prescription. The best adaptations will find their own vocabulary. Terminology swaps. Let me walk you through how to transform Chinese cultivation terms into Indian equivalents. For cultivation, or chi, consider using sadhana, tapasya, shakti, prana, or kundalini. For soul beast or spirit pet, try atma pashu, vahana, mitrajeev, or sathi. For beast contract or bond, use pratigya, atma bandhan, or rakta sandhi. For clans or sects, consider khandan, gotra, gharana, or sampradaya. For academy or sect, try gurukul, ashram, vidyapith, or akhara. For cultivation levels, use stages of sadhana, chakra awakening, or siddhi levels. For forbidden zone, consider nishedh kshetra, patal, or kalavanam. For heavenly tribulation, use divya pariksha or agni pariksha. For spirit stones or pills, try siddhi ratna, amrit, soma, or aushadhi. For sect elder or patriarch, consider guruji, pitama, kul pramukh, or mahant. Beast mythology options. Your creatures don't have to map directly to these, but they should feel rooted in Indian imagination. Garuda, the divine bird, sky predator, Vishnu's vahana. Naga or Nagin, serpent beings with water and earth powers, representing ancient wisdom. Sharabha, a lion-eagle hybrid, destroyer of evil, the ultimate predator. Vanara, monkey warriors known for agility and mischief. Yali, a lion-elephant hybrid, traditional temple guardians. Makara, a sea creature with river and ocean powers. Pishach or Vital, undead entities with dark powers, representing forbidden bonds. Yaksha or Yakshini, nature spirits and treasure guardians. Kinnara, celestial musicians embodying beauty and grace. Mayura, peacock spirits associated with rain and fertility. Social oppression frameworks. The source stories use various forms of social hierarchy and injustice. Find the Indian equivalent that carries the same emotional weight. Joint family politics.
inheritance battles, cousin rivalries, the weight of khandan ka naam. Rural-urban divide, small-town shame, city snobbery. Gender-based limitations, the phrase ladkiyan aisa nahi karti, girls don't do such things. Economic class warfare, rich versus poor, haves versus have-nots. Religious or community prejudice, interfaith tension, community isolation. Regional discrimination, language bias, being labeled as an outsider. Story-specific adaptation notes. Each story has elements that require special attention during localization. These are your trickiest transformation challenges. For charm of soul pets, the tricky elements. Number 1, the demon curse. A foreign entity forced into a child's body. In Indian terms, consider pret bada, meaning spirit possession, a cursed inheritance from past lives, or a tantric experiment gone wrong. The 3-year deadline creates urgency. Preserve this.
Number 2, Prison Island, a death game setting. Could become a forbidden forest called Vanam, a cursed island off the coast, or an underground dungeon beneath a corrupt temple. The isolation and survival elements must remain. Number 3, the nine-tailed fox. This is very specifically East Asian. Transform into something that carries similar weight, perhaps a celestial vixen called Mohini, a shape-shifting Nagin with multiple hoods, or a divine creature from regional folklore. The evolution stages should feel like spiritual ascension. Number 4, the soul pet system. Creatures tied to your soul. In Indian terms, Atma Bandhan, where the creature becomes part of your spiritual body. Death of one means death of both. This stakes-raising element is crucial. For Beastmaster of the Ages, the tricky elements. Number 1, the betrayal by beloved. This translates beautifully to Indian drama. The woman who promises forever then destroys him. Lean into the arranged marriage context, the family honor stakes, the public humiliation. Number 2, the phoenix and cat duo. The phoenix works well. Consider a Garuda variant, a firebird, or Agni's messenger. The black cat with lightning is trickier. Perhaps a storm creature, a Vajra-infused beast, or something tied to Indra's power. Number 3, 10 beasts sleeping inside. This is unusual. Multiple potential bonds within one person. Frame it as past life connections awakening, or a unique bloodline gift. The comedic dynamic between beasts must survive. Number 4, the revenge torture scene. 2 hours of screaming. This is brutal. Indian audiences can handle intensity, but calibrate it. The emotional catharsis matters more than the gore. For God of Fishing, the tricky elements. Number 1, the twin fish, yin and yang. One visible, one hidden. This duality is powerful. Consider Shiva Shakti, light shadow, the seen and unseen self. Little white and little black need names that carry this weight in Hindi. Number 2, the ocean world, floating islands over endless sea. This could become a river civilization based on the Ganga, a coastal kingdom, or a mythical underwater realm. The fishing as power path needs cultural grounding. Number 3, the game-like interface. Data panels, levels, stats. Decide if you're keeping this system element or making it more mystical. If keeping it, frame it as divine sight, divya drishti, or a gift from the mysterious tattoo. Number 4, losing himself to power. He wakes in fields of corpses, doesn't remember killing. This psychological horror, the merger with the dark fish consuming his humanity, is the story's core tension. Don't soften it. For I became a zombie wolf, the tricky elements. Number 1, the tribrid nature. Vampire plus werewolf plus zombie equals something new. Indian mythology has plenty of hybrid creatures. Consider Pishach for the undead, Verka for wolf-like beings, and Rakta Pishach for blood drinkers. The tribrid must feel uniquely powerful. Number 2. Futuristic setting, year 3100. This is science fiction. You can keep it futuristic India, or pull it into a mythological apocalypse, a Kali Yuga extreme where monsters have won. Decide your frame early. Number 3. The ancient entry in his mind, a mentor consciousness that chose him. In Indian terms, a trapped devata, a bound asura seeking revenge, or the ghost of a great warrior. Their partnership dynamic is key. Number 4. Humanity as livestock. This slavery narrative is intense, grounded in Indian context, perhaps echoing historical oppression, caste-based dehumanization, or colonial exploitation. The rage must feel earned. Number 5. Galactic expansion. The story goes cosmic. If keeping science fiction, use Indian space mythology, lokas, and different realms. If making mythological, the story expands to other worlds and dimensions in Hindu cosmology. For monster integration, the tricky elements. Number 1. The sparrow choice. He chooses a worthless Class 2 bird when he could have had power. This underdog bet is the emotional core. The sparrow needs a name and identity that makes audiences root for her immediately. Number 2. The Mana engine system. 5,692 parts, 96% failure rate. This technical power system needs cultural translation. Consider chakra configuration, a forgotten yogic technique, or an ancient weapon forging method that fell out of use. Number 3. The 24 combat poses. Physical stances that break his body but unlock power. This actually maps well to Indian martial arts like Kalaripayattu, yoga asanas pushed to lethal extremes, or tantric body modification. Number 4. Grim monster tribes. Intelligent monster civilizations at war with humanity. Frame them as asura armies, rakshasa kingdoms, or corrupted beings from another yuga. They must feel like worthy enemies, not mindless beasts. Number 5. The sparrow's hidden divinity. She's secretly something ancient and powerful. The reveal should feel earned. Perhaps she's a fallen celestial, a fragment of a goddess, or something from before recorded mythology. Universal adaptation checklists. Use these to audit your adaptation quality, not to structure your story. The source material does that. Chapter 1 Adaptation Checklist. By the end of Chapter 1, verify these 8 points. First, all names feel naturally Indian, not transliterated, but chosen. Second, the setting feels specific to India, not a generic fantasy land with Hindi names. Third, the power system terminology is established and consistent. Fourth, the social oppression makes sense in Indian terms, whether caste, class, family, or gender. Fifth, dialogue sounds like how Indians actually speak, not dubbed. Sixth, the creature or beast feels rooted in Indian mythology or ecology. Seventh, the emotional beats land the same way they do in the source, adapted, not lost. Eighth, a new listener would never guess this was adapted from Chinese source material. Chapter 5. Adaptation Checklist. By the end of Chapter 5, verify these 8 points. First, your Indianization choices have remained consistent across all episodes. Second, the power progression terminology feels natural and escalating. Third, relationships feel Indian. Family dynamics, friendship patterns, respect and intimacy codes. Fourth, humor, if any, has been adapted to Indian sensibilities, not just translated. Fifth, the world-building details accumulate into a coherent Indian setting. Sixth, the source story's key emotional beats have all landed with equal or greater impact. Seventh, nothing feels foreign or dubbed anymore. Eighth, you've added texture that makes it more than the original,
not just equivalent. 10 questions to guide your adaptation. These are not story-building questions. Your story already exists. These are localization audits to ensure your transformation is complete. Question 1. What are you calling the beast or creature bond? The source calls it soul contract, beast bond, or spirit pact. What Indian term captures the same intimacy and weight? Options to consider. Atma Bandhan, meaning soul binding. Pratigya, meaning sacred vow. Rakta Sandhi, meaning blood covenant. Or Sathi pact, meaning companion bond. The test. Say it out loud in dialogue. Does it sound natural? Question 2. What is your power system vocabulary? List every cultivation or power term from your source story. What's your Indian equivalent for each? Examples. Chi or spiritual energy becomes prana, shakti, or kundalini. Cultivation levels become sadhana stages or siddhi levels. Breakthrough becomes jagran, meaning awakening, or utkarsh, meaning ascension. The test. Is it consistent? Would a listener learn this system without confusion? Question 3. Where is this story set? Not just India, but where in India? What region? What era? What specific texture? Consider. A specific state's geography and culture. A historical period or mythological time. Urban, rural, or fantastical variation. The test. Could you describe the smell, the sounds, the weather of your world? Question 4. How does your hero speak? What's their dialect, their speech pattern, their vocabulary level? Consider. Regional flavor. Bihari, Punjabi, South Indian. Class markers. Educated, street smart, rural. Age-appropriate language. How they address elders, peers, and enemies. The test. Read their dialogue aloud. Does it sound like a real person from your setting? Question 5. What makes the oppression feel Indian? The source has specific injustice. How does that injustice manifest in Indian society? Consider the weight of izzat, honor and reputation. Log kya kahenge? What will people say? The social judgment. Garbalon ka dhoka, family betrayal. Janam se abhishap, cursed from birth. The test. Would an Indian listener feel the unfairness in their gut? Question 6. What Indian mythology does your creature draw from? Even if you invent something new, what existing legends does it echo? Your creature should feel like it could exist in temple carvings, grandmother stories, regional folklore, or Puranic texts. The test. Could you explain what this creature is to your grandmother? Question 7. How do relationships code Indian? Elder respect, friendship intimacy, romantic restraint, family obligation? How do these show in your adaptation? Consider how characters greet each other, physical touch norms, forms of address, aap, tum, or tu, unspoken family expectations. The test. Do your characters interact the way Indians actually do? Question 8. What details make your world feel lived in? Food, clothing, festivals, daily routines, slang, curses. What's specific to your version? List 10 details that only exist in your adaptation. What they eat for breakfast. What curses they use. What festivals interrupt the plot. What the streets smell like. The test. Could someone recreate your world's daily life from your script? Question 9. Where have you added, not just translated? What moments did you expand because they resonate more for Indian audiences? Opportunities. Family scenes that hit harder here. Humor that's funnier in Indian context. Emotional beats that need different expression. Cultural moments the source couldn't have. The test. What would an Indian listener love that a Chinese reader might not notice? Question 10. The final test. Does it feel like translation or creation? Read your adaptation blind. If someone heard this without knowing the source, would they ever guess it wasn't originally Hindi? The test.
Give it to someone who doesn't know the original. Ask where they think it's from. Tips for strong character appeal. पहला सवाल, क्या तुम्हारा हीरो एक विक्टिम है? तुम्हारे हीरो को सच्चा अन्याय सहना चाहिए जो सुनने वालों को उसकी तरफ से गुस्सा दिलाता है? एक तरह के पीड़ित को चुनो। पहला प्रकार, परिवार के धोखे का शिकार। ऐसे रिश्तेदार जिन्हें उसकी हिफाजत करनी चाहिए, वो उसकी विरासत चुराने और उसकी जिंदगी बर्बाद करने की साजिश करते हैं। दूसरा प्रकार, वर्ग के अपमान का शिकार। अमीर ससुराल वालों, एम्प्लॉयर्स या समाज से रोजाना का अपमान जो उसे बेकार मानते हैं। तीसरा प्रकार, देखी हुई हत्या का शिकार। एक प्रिय इंसान को अपनी आंखों के सामने असहाय होकर मरते हुए देखा और सदमे और जिंदा रहने के गिल्ट को ढोना। चौथा प्रकार, पहचान की चोरी का शिकार। धोखाधड़ी या हिंसा के जरिए उसका असली नाम, स्टेटस और जन्मसिद्ध अधिकार छीन लिया गया। पांचवा प्रकार, मजबूर हालात का शिकार। हेर फेर या जोर जबरदस्ती के जरिए अवांछित शादी, नौकरी या रहने की सिचुएशन में फंसा हुआ। मेन बात, उसकी परेशानी बिना किसी गलती के होनी चाहिए और उसे कमजोर दिखाए बिना सच्ची सहानुभूति पैदा करनी चाहिए। दूसरा सवाल, क्या तुम्हारे हीरो में खूबियां हैं? तुम्हारे हीरो में अटूट नैतिक गुण होने चाहिए जो सुनने वालों को उसकी अंधेरी दुनिया के बावजूद उसका सम्मान करने पर मजबूर करते हैं। पहली खूबी, मासूमों का रक्षक। कमजोर लोगों को बचाना, भले ही इससे उसकी खुद की प्लानिंग को खतरा हो। दूसरी खूबी, धोखे के बावजूद वफादार। परिवार द्वारा छोड़ दिए जाने के बाद भी काबिल दोस्तों के प्रति वफादार रहना। तीसरी खूबी, दुश्मनों पर दयालु। उन हारे हुए दुश्मनों पर दया दिखाना जो माफी के लायक नहीं है। चौथी खूबी, न्याय से प्रेरित। सिर्फ पर्सनल फायदे या बदले के लिए नहीं, बल्कि हर किसी के लिए गलत को सही करने की कोशिश करना। पांचवी खूबी, आत्म बलिदानी। दूसरों की भलाई को अपने आराम, सेफ्टी या इच्छाओं से ऊपर रखना। तीसरा सवाल, क्या तुम्हारे हीरो में अट्रैक्टिव क्वालिटीज हैं? तुम्हारे हीरो में ऐसी अट्रैक्टिव खूबियां होनी चाहिए जो दूसरों और सुनने वालों को नेचुरली उसकी तरफ खींचती हैं। पहली क्वालिटी, नेचुरल करिश्मा। बिना कोशिश किए ध्यान खींचना और वफादारी को इंस्पायर करना, जिससे लोग उसका साथ देना चाहें। दूसरी क्वालिटी, तेज इंटेलिजेंस। शानदार स्ट्रैटेजीज से दुश्मनों को मात देना और धोखे को देखना जिसे दूसरे मिस कर जाते हैं। तीसरी क्वालिटी, फिजिकल मैग्नेटिज्म। आकर्षक लुक जो तारीफ भरी नजरें खींचता है और रोमांटिक रिश्तों को यकीन दिलाता है। चौथी क्वालिटी, छुपे हुए टैलेंट्स। स्किल्स का होना, लड़ाई, भाषाएं, कला, जो उसकी महान विरासत का हिंट देते हैं। पांचवी क्वालिटी, शांत कॉन्फिडेंस। दबाव में सम्मान बनाए रखना और हालात के बावजूद हल्की सी अथॉरिटी के साथ खुद को कैरी करना। ये खूबियां तुम्हारे हीरो को वो बनाती हैं जिसे सुनने वाले कामयाब देखना चाहते हैं और दुश्मन उसके खतरे को कम आंकते हैं। क्रिएटिंग पावरफुल क्लिफ हैंगर्स। जबरदस्त क्लाइमेक्स बनाना। अपने ऑडियो एपिसोड्स के लिए सुनने वालों को जोड़े रखना। पहली तकनीक, एक छुपे हुए सच को उजागर करो। हीरो की असली पहचान, फैमिली सीक्रेट्स या उनके दुख के पीछे के असली मास्टरमाइंड के बारे में अचानक एक रिविलेशन दो। दूसरी तकनीक, उन्हें जानलेवा खतरे में छोड़ दो। अपने हीरो को तुरंत फिजिकल खतरे का सामना करते हुए किसी भरोसेमंद इंसान द्वारा धोखा दिए जाने या एक ऐसे जाल में फंसने के साथ खत्म करो जिससे वो बच नहीं सकते। तीसरी तकनीक, एक बहुत ही अहम सवाल पूछो। वफादारी, पहचान या बदले के बारे में एक जरूरी सवाल के साथ कहानी खत्म करो जिसका जवाब न दिया गया हो, ताकि सुनने वाले हीरो के अगले कदम के बारे में सोचें। चौथी तकनीक, मुठभेड़ के बीच में रुक जाओ। उस सीन को वहीं पर कट कर दो जहां हीरो अपनी असली पहचान बताने वाला हो, बदला लेने वाला हो या जिंदगी बदलने वाला फैसला लेने वाला हो। फाइनल रिमाइंडर, योर मिशन, चूज वन स्टोरी, रिसीव द कंप्लीट मटेरियल्स, transform it into something that feels like it was born in India, not translated, transformed. The plot stays, the soul changes. Make it yours, make it ours, make it unforgettable. 5 legendary stories, 1 transformative challenge. Which world will you bring home?